crazy. We about to head to London. O2, March 5th.
Yeah, so Davido.
Yes, sir.
Davido is having a show next month.
Yeah, shout out to Davido, man. Shout out to Davido. Sold out, by the way. Oh, sold out. So it was sold out within a few weeks.
Do you think Davido has a point to prove in 2022?
No.
Why?
I don't think it does. Bro, there are two perspectives to having a point to prove. There is the part of you feeling like you have a point to prove, and there is a part of your success and track record speaking for itself. So from the perspective of there are people that subscribe to both perspectives, or to each perspective. On the one side, there's going to be possibly Davido himself. Remember, did you watch The Last Dance? The Last Dance was Michael Jordan's documentary on Netflix, and he was talking about, when you watch that documentary, you will see the different things that he used to motivate himself. For example, he literally invented something. Someone never said anything, but he said the person said it to motivate himself. Do you understand? When you get to a point in your career, it's very hard to sustain success. There's a reason why most artists can't sustain success, especially ones that are not from privileged backgrounds, because they never thought they were going to make it. But now they've made it, and they feel like it's very hard to stay motivated. Davido has been succeeding for 10 years, right? Davido has done everything. Like, from the perspective of an artist, everything. You might say, oh, he doesn't have a Grammy nomination, he doesn't have a Grammy, he wasn't featured on Beyonce's album, he wasn't... Bro, all those things are like cents on the dollar. They are huge. When it comes time to talk about greatness and the thing you've achieved, all those things, we are going to talk about those things. But Davido's Fall and If were very important records in this Afrobeats to the world journey. Fall, in terms of like this, the later parts of this journey, Fall is like the gateway record for the pop run of Nigerian music in the West. Let's not lie to ourselves. Fall was huge. Fall is probably going to be certified platinum very soon. Right? So, in terms of like success, what else I mean, you can achieve more, obviously, and it's likely going to achieve more, either he puts pressure on himself or not, right? But the fact that he has an appetite and competition is very intense. Like his peers, the people that he was probably higher than at different points in his career, Burna and Wiz, are doing something else, will probably make him want to do the same thing or more than they have been doing. So that means Grammy, Billboard hits, Hot 100 hits, and all that. But in the real sense of it, he has no point to prove. Nothing. No. Bro, what point does he want to prove? He wants to move like Allstars. Last year alone, Davido didn't have to release a record to have a fantastic year. Features upon features. He was the reason why those features blew up. This year alone, 1st January this year, Skibby, another one. He has not released a record by himself. Even Champion Sound, the record that he released, wasn't as big as some of those records. That's star power. If you're not a star, there is no way you are blessing records on that level. I mean, Buju is. But even Buju is a star. But Davido is a superstar. The presence on Davido on your record alone is going to give you an incredible amount of numbers. Especially on the place like YouTube, where the way the algorithm works with names and recognizable names that attract clicks. So it means that something that attracts clicks is going to push those things that attract clicks. In the moment someone sees Apple Music, if you are pitching music to Apple Music and they see the video on your record, they are probably going to play listens if they were not going to play listens before. So what do you have to prove? Last year that Davido didn't really do much. I think he tweeted something. No, I think he tweeted something that he made over $20 million. Was it? Bro, how do you know? People are saying you did have a great, but you made over $20 million. Bro, you didn't have a great year. Okay, if you want to have a great year, what will you do? Endorsements upon endorsements. The one that with the bank that he did, the one with the drink company. Bro, do you know how much they gave him for those things?
Billboards everywhere.
Bro, so what point do you have to prove? But will that stop Davido himself from thinking that he has a point to prove? I don't think so. Like I said the other time, competition and the fact that artists are narcissists. They are very narcissistic. If you speak with an artist, you understand that they are very, very narcissistic. And they need that narcissism to work, because if you are creating things for millions of people, you need to believe in your head that this is the greatest thing that you've ever created. Every time. So if you don't believe, you don't have that type of mentality, you are not going to succeed. So that means that, especially when you have succeeded for 10 years, no, this is 12 years now. 12 years is the 12th year. You have succeeded for 12 years in the industry, in the music industry. You need something to keep going. So if it's competition right now, if it's to beat some people, if it's to be better than some people, then it's fine. But does it have a point to prove? No, it doesn't.
So it's obvious Davido is a superstar.
Oh, 1000%.
But it seems like it's also obvious to some people, and they still need him to prove something. Why do you think people want him to prove a point?
There are three different types of people in this conversation. There are Davido fans who have seen Wiz and Burna achieve certain types of success, right? There are anti-Davido people who are like Burna's outsiders and Wizkids, and some neutrals who have not really taken their time. Oh no, anti-established, anti-Davido people. That's people who belong to other Fanbases. That's true. And then number three, there are neutrals who have not really studied the game to understand that this guy is really winning, right? On the one side, Davido stands operates on the level on bad energy. They are horrible, right? They have their blessings, they have their plus sides, but they are horrible because bad energy is how they thrive. So the only reason they want their faves to succeed is so that they can pepper the other standards. Not because they want the guy to win, but because they want to pepper those ones. That's why they want him to succeed, because the competition and the bad energy, it makes sense. For example, when Wiz and Davido were hugging, Stans didn't like it. I remember I tweeted something that I would like to see a collaboration. They didn't want to see the collaboration happen. Do you know why? This Fanbase believes that this one is going to be horrible on the record. This Fanbase believes this one is going to be horrible on the record. That's how they operate. The same thing goes for the anti-Davido fans, because they have been peppering the Davido stars for a long time. That's 30BG. So that's outsiders and Wizkid have been peppering 30BG for the longest time, right? So that means they want to believe so bad that Davido is trash. There's literally an account on Twitter, Wizkid, that's different account, frog something, frog this one, frog that one, because it's literally about destroying Davido, literally, right? So there are those ones, and then there are neutrals who have not really studied the thing to understand that this guy, even if he didn't exactly have essence last year, he didn't win a Grammy last year, he had a fantastic year. He really did. But to be honest, it's also because like the album that he released when Made in Lagos and Twice As Tall dropped wasn't a great album. That's just the truth. It wasn't a great album. But in terms of numbers, that album did fantastic, right? On Apple Music last year, it was a top 3 most streamed album last year on Apple Music. But what do you expect? It's a Davido album. Even Davido doesn't, if he releases, the way the world works, it works on algorithms and reputation. It also works on the tenets of like people assigned to major labels. So that means even if Davido releases a record where he's silent, it's going to get pushed to their level because people have things to gain from the record. And there are also algorithms that have been trained to that now understand Davido's star power. So that means the way they are going to recognize those records is going to be different. So it's not possible for Davido to release a record that's not going to do great numbers. It's literally not possible, right? Also some of these things. But in terms of like quality and classic content, Twice As Tall and Made in Lagos are way higher. So it means that a Davido, for example, will want to release an album on that level. It means that people will want him to release an album on that level. And to be honest, the greatest shortcoming of Davido's career is that he has still not released an album that is universally acclaimed. In terms of critical acclaim. Commercial success, yes, it's Davido. Even Son of Mercy had commercial success. Davido for himself, he said he doesn't listen to Son of Mercy. He said he hates the project, right? He said it on his interview on Black Box. The project did amazing numbers. Have you seen the numbers of the records on the project? So if Son of Mercy did great numbers, what do you expect from any other Davido record, Davido body of work? So in terms of like all those things, the summation of those things is why people feel like he has a point to prove. That's the thing. But overall, if there's one shortcoming to Davido's career and that he can correct is releasing a universally acclaimed album, and that's factual.